This is test grade level 4 and question number 9. This question has 3 parts to it, so hang in there and we'll do this together. First thing, we need to A, mark the half steps on each staff with slurs. Remember that a slur is a curvy line, like that, where they occur in the major scales. If it's a major scale, let's do a simple review. In a major scale, you have the order of, let me take this one out real quick. You have whole step, half step. Whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. If you took the test last year, you had to learn that for questions on the 3rd grade test. Well, here it is again. Remember, we're adding to information you already knew. All right, so we have whole step, half step, whole step, half step. Okay, so we know it's supposed to be, we're supposed to mark the half steps. So this one is a whole step, don't mark it. Whole step, don't mark it. Half step, like a little smile. Whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Now go down to the next one. I've got it folded under so that your eyes don't have so much to see. So if I were to slur under it, it might get lost on the paper. So just keep that in mind. Whole step, half step, whole step, half step. I've now done A. Now I am supposed to draw the sharps or the flats that are needed before the notes to make the major scale. All right, I'm going to flip back because back here from one of the earlier questions I made this, right? This is how we're going to know what to write. It's just a little inconvenient the way that I did it on the paper, okay? So if we need a whole step between E and a kind of an F, E and F, is there a whole step between E and F? There isn't. It's only a half step, so we need E to F sharp. It's a kind of an F. E to a kind of an F, F sharp. Draw the 2 lines and then make sure that the thing that is sharp is in the window. The square part is the window of the sharp. Make sure that that window sits right over the space, okay? So now we have from F sharp to G sharp. It doesn't have a slur, so it's supposed to be a whole step, right? F sharp to a kind of a G. F sharp to G is only a half step, so it must be F sharp to G sharp. That's a whole step. Make sure that the window sits over the line because we don't want it to look like you're sharping one of the other notes. It's this note that will be sharp, okay? From G sharp to A is supposed to be a half step. It's got the slur. Let's see. G sharp to A is a half step. Make no changes to that note. It's already complete. A to B is supposed to be a whole step. A to B is a whole step. Make no changes. B to C is supposed to be a whole step. B to C is only a half step. B to C sharp. It has to be a kind of a C. Okay? C sharp. From C sharp to D is supposed to be a whole step. C sharp to, it's a half step, so C sharp to D sharp is a whole step. D sharp to E has the slur. It's supposed to be a half step. And it is. Make no changes. That's how you do E major, okay? Now then, let's go ahead and we're going to do A major together, all right? from A to B. And remember that you won't have to do the crude drawing. They're going to provide you with a sheet that has the piano on it that you can refer to, that'll sit over on the side of the test. All right, so you can just go back and forth and be able to do this. Check your clef sign. This is bass clef. It's A major. I'll have a student walk in here in just a second, so if you hear some noise, just keep going with me. Come on in. We're making a video, but you're good. Go ahead. Have a seat. So we're going to go from A to B. So what we're going to do is go back to our chart. From A to B is supposed to be a whole step, and it is. So make no changes. From B to C is supposed to be a whole step, no slur. So we're going to make B to C. It's supposed to be a whole step, and it isn't. It's a half. So we're going to change the C to C sharp. C sharp to D is supposed to be a half step, and it is. So make no changes. D to E is supposed to be a whole step, and it is. So make no changes. E to F is supposed to be a whole step. It is not. So we have to make it a kind of F. F sharp gives us the whole step. F sharp to G is supposed to be a whole step, no slur. F sharp to G is a half step, so it has to be G sharp. G sharp to A is supposed to be a half step, and it is. Keep in mind that your scale is going to have to end with the same note it started with, so it wouldn't make any sense for you to start on A, end on A sharp, would it? So if you end up with a note that's changed at the end, you've done something wrong. To go back and double check, because you got off somewhere here along the line, okay? There's one more part. We just completed B. C says, in the last measure of each staff, draw the tonic or key note and use a whole note, just like the whole notes that are printed here. So the key note is the name of the key, the first note, okay? So E, you just simply copy the first note. Yay! 2 easy points, right? A major, just copy the first note, okay? So keep in mind, it's a little bit more complicated. Just take the time to think it through. And each part is only worth 2 points. This one isn't too hard, this one isn't too hard, and this one just takes some time, all right? So take your time, think it through, and you shouldn't have any trouble with question 9.